same.
And I feel like that's why sometimes us as Christians can't go anywhere. We can't go anywhere. We can't because our mind process.
I don't want to go there.
Is in the same cycle.
So that's
but that's the misconception. He wants us to ask questions. Yeah. He wants us to understand. Like, and that's Christians.
I feel like
the Baptists, all the Pentecostal, all that shit, they made us so fearful to the point to where we cannot have an open dialogue about this.
I'm not saying that
I know that's not what you're saying. I'm commenting in general. Oh. So, do you guys identify with any religion?
I'm a Christian, but I feel like I'm more spiritual than religious. I believe in a lot of spirit things. I feel like religion is a lot of things that we put into religion are man-made. So the things when it comes to, you can't sit in the pulpit if your skirt don't come down in here. Like, I feel like that's a part of religion or at least the connotation that religion gives off. And I'm just not about that.
Okay, I agree with her because I'm the same way. Like,
so you guys,
I'm spiritual. Like, but when I say spiritual, I mean God. I don't mean higher power. I believe all that. I believe all the stuff in the Bible is true. Like, I don't believe any of that is different. But I don't agree with, like you said, like the specific. What separates each religion is man-made.
I feel like I grew up Christian, but I am questioning. I am finding my way. What about you?
I am an agnostic omnis, which means like I don't believe in a specific religion, but I do believe all religions have validity. But I'm also spiritual on like, you can say I'm spiritual. I practice like, speaking to the ancestors and shit. But yeah, I'm definitely into like omnism and agnosticism.
So this episode was super hard because first of all, I was the only non-Christian, I feel. Well, I guess you could say tiny, but I am non-Christian. And it was kind of I came in anxious, and as you can see, I had that thing in my hand because I was like anxious the whole time. But my spirituality is actually an oxymoron because I was raised by a PK. I was a PK. I was raised by a preacher, and I was raised Southern Baptist. And when I got to college and I started to learn stuff about spirituality, stuff that I was always questioning as a kid, it just started to piece together the things that were kind of left out because of like religiosity and just a big, fear God and just fear in general. So when I kind of put fear aside, I got to learn a couple things, and I found out that I'm not necessarily religious more than I am just like a spirit who's full of love, and I want to see the best for everybody, and I don't believe in fear. I think fear is the worst thing you could ever believe in, and I find that religion is based in it, obviously, because the one thing that you have to do, especially in my old religion, was fear God, and I just don't believe that anything that I serve or worship I should fear.
So my question is, okay, for you guys that identify as Christian.
But I'm culturally Christian.
What does that mean?
Meaning like I know the culture.
Okay. Yeah, I'm like tiny.
For you guys that identify with Christianity, do you agree with everything in Christianity?
Absolutely not.
Okay, my next question is, yes or no, because I have a point.
Okay.
So, if you don't agree with everything in Christianity, do you honestly feel comfortable with saying I am a Christian?
Like, I feel like what Christianity was intended to be, yes. But what Christianity is now, I don't feel like I don't agree with those, because that's where the people that riot at people's funerals because they're gay, like that's not Christ-like.
So like, okay, boom, that for example, would you say they're rioting gay? That's what you said?
Yeah, it was like gay troops.
Okay, so this is my thing. So you don't believe that of course most people believe that rioting isn't right, but the root of the problem is being gay, and so that's kind of what I mean. For example, so for me, of course we don't, as Christians, we don't believe that you should hate anyone or you should do X, Y, and Z. But what I'm saying is I don't believe that God said you can't be gay. Like
I don't believe that either.
So and that was my point. It's hard for me to identify as Christian knowing that is a part of Christianity. Like forget all of the love who you want to love. I don't like that. I feel like people should be. I don't know. I don't feel like that is a sin.
For one, a lot of translations are translated into whoever wants to say what they want to say, and not necessarily what God intended. But I personally believe that Jesus is love, and anybody, if you love somebody, why are you looking at me like that? I feel like Jesus is love, and if you love somebody, it doesn't matter what sex organ they have. I feel like God blesses you with love, and if you love somebody and that person just happens to be the same sex as you, I don't feel like God looks at you and says that's a sin.
What would you like to do?
Okay, so I really believe that Christianity, is specifically Jesus, every time that I've heard of it, is being used for evil. Like, my first introduction obviously was like Baptist Christian, but I'm a Christian because my ancestors were slaves, and my ancestors were forced to be Christian. Much like I always equate Jesus to somebody. I use his tactics on how he became who he was in reference to how like a lot of leaders use their power. So like Hitler's, Trump's, and I know it sounds crazy.
How?
I thought Kendall was about to reach across the table when Takenya said Donald Trump, and Jesus were like look at her. I felt smoke coming from the area. I was scared.
I do, because
I don't know how.
okay, so you know how we say Jesus is love and God is love and all of these things, but we don't acknowledge that, you know, a lot of things have to get done in order for Jesus to be who he was. A lot of people had to die. He came in with this belief that if you follow me and only me, then you're gonna be good, and everybody else has to like kind of fall to the back.
So if you're gonna talk about religion or leaders in a way and say like, oh, that basically somebody is always gonna have something negative to say about what's being done, that's anybody. You could say Obama was a bad leader. There's people who are gonna say how his administration was bad to him, but overall he was a good president. Just like how when we think about universal health care, most people with normal right sense in their minds understand how that is helpful. There are people that it hurts though, because people have to pay more. People who make more have to be able to pay more to account for those people who aren't paying. Are we going to say that, oh, that's a bad thing? There's millionaires who can always talk about how, oh, this hurt them, or this wasn't good for them, or wasn't in their best interest, but it was in the best interest for the majority. So overall, we can say it's good.
What you're saying, to me, it sounds like you're saying that Jesus, Hitler, Trump have some of the same leadership stuff. Yeah, and I can see that. Because, like you said, Christianity is kind of rooted in fear.
A lot of people who follow Trump can say that him backing businesses and putting, like, all of them can say what Trump did personally for them to make their life well. But there's a billion of people that are like, this nigga really ain't shit. Like, so just like with Jesus, like, a lot of people who obviously did serve him did get some kind of benefit from it and can speak from a positive place. But there are also Black Americans who can say, well, we follow Jesus and we was.
But I'm that person. I can also speak from a negative place if I really wanted to sit and do that.
Yeah.
But I don't choose to hold on to that. But that's,
So this one, because you said how they became who they are. Jesus, when he was becoming who he was, I felt like the difference is Hitler, when he was becoming who he was running on a movement of hate. Trump was running on a movement of hate. Jesus, he wasn't hating. He said, this is everlasting life, or you can go to hell. But that's fear, but I don't feel like that's hate.
The most uncomfortable thing about Jesus for me, and I don't know if it was before, this could be God, but even if it was God doing or Jesus is doing, when Lot's wife got turned into stone because she decided to look back.
Because she looked
like
back.
that shit really
Well,
fucked
she
me
turned
up.
it.
Like what the fuck?
told her
Why
not
did
to look back.
But
Regardless,
regardless,
but that's what I'm trying. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but
Oh.
I'm trying to prove her point that is fear.
I don't
that is
wanna
something
live
that's
in
fear.
because a lot of reasons why people don't, just like with Trump, a lot of reasons why people don't want to go against Hitler or
Because
Trump
they're scared.
is because they're afraid.
Yes.
That was my thing, even with like, and I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it because I do love, and I think that's what Jesus. I think before any of the people got involved, I do
That's
believe
what
that
it is,
Jesus
yeah.
was who he said he was. I do believe he believed in love. However, how he went about it and how he used his campaign to tell people either you believe in me or you don't. Look how people, like most of the people who follow Trump are Christians. Most of the people who believe in Black people being slaves were Christians. Christianity has a past of, genocide, of either you with us or you not. And if you're with us, then there's everlasting, wonderful shit. And you don't even think about that shit.
Let's say in this part of the world that Christianity has a
right,
because that's not true for
that's
the
not
rest
everywhere.
of the
and I don't feel like that's
let's just say on this part of the world because it's the opposite.
Well, and then even think about Christianity today. Like me, I personally just think about the concept of heaven and hell. It scares the shit out of me. Like I don't even. I got to one point to where I was scared to curse. Like I was scared. I'm scared to sin, even though sinning is like, you know, it's rooted in us. Like there's no way that we can get away from it. I felt like it was one point I was going crazy trying to be perfect because of the concept of heaven and hell was in my mind. So for someone that believes just in spirituality, not really like big on Jesus, but they believe there's a God, like where does that put them?
To me,
that's what I was saying.
To me, like that just believes there is a God but not naming a God. To me, that's like saying, "Oh, yeah, I got a girlfriend. Well, who is your girlfriend? Who are you loyal to? Like, who is it? Like, you can't just say I have a girlfriend and then not point out who the girlfriend
what
is.
if you're polyamorous?
then you're not loyal.
That's not true. Polyamory is like a
So y'all
But
believe
you're not loyal to one person. Polygamous relationship means you're not loyal to one person.
But it's also the capability of being able to love more than one person.
Nobody said you can't love them both.
But you can be loyal
You
to both.
cannot be loyal to two people. No, you cannot.
I think that's up for interpretation.
Well, yeah, because you can
How
say,
am I loyal
you
to
can
you
say
and
like I
loyal
would
to
be
you?
loyal
I'm
to
with
both
you,
of you.
There's an agreement.
And I'm with you, but I'm loyal to you, even though I'm also loyal to you.
But
That
I
don't
think
make
in a
even
monogamy,
no sense.
from being monogamy, I get that because you believe that it should only be one person with one person. But when you're polygamous, you believe you can have an arrangement with more than one person. Because even Jesus believed in that. If we be honest, like he believed in men having concubines and shit. So honestly, I'm just speaking the word of Christ.
She's gonna be petty this whole episode. What I'm saying is the stuff that we're getting hung up on, like, oh, are you gonna like he this, and if you're not perfect this, and if you're not that this, like, no, we need to actually look into the actual stories. The people of God were not perfect. Like the people that he chose to do his work were not perfect people. None of these people were perfect, but they were still holy people. The expectation is not for us to not be perfect. That's why Jesus died for our sins in the first place, because they knew we were going to sin. They knew we were not going to be perfect. They always say the one thing that God, whatever, is not going to control is our own will. You have your own will to do whatever the hell it is that you want. And he knows. Yes, you do. That's what I'm saying. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Okay, it is true in terms of you do have free will, but in Christianity, understand that free will comes with hell.
That's not true.
If you do something that's not godly or the way that God says it, you're going to hell.
Why do you say that's not true?
Because never anywhere in the history of never does that say that in the Bible. That's what I keep trying to. That's what I've been saying.
But I think what she's saying, okay, you're
not gonna just go straight to hell because you do something wrong. Like,
so what
that's not the issue.
In Christianity, people going to hell?
If you do something wrong, you know, you don't like. It's one thing to do something wrong and just continue to just be a sinner, just over and over and over and over, an offensive sinner. There's another thing where you can start off doing something wrong, and then that's why you get to repent of your sins, you get to ask for forgiveness, you get to change, you get to do things. You have time. Like if you just live your whole life as a sinner and you just don't make whatever, then yeah, you are going to go straight to hell. But no, you're not going to make one or two sins and then just be cast down forever.
So is George Zimmerman going to hell?
I'm trying to figure out.
He's not repenting. He's not
Wait.
sorry.
Hold on. Excuse me. So, okay, I just need to hit yours right on the nail. So, what you going to hell? What do you have to do to go to hell? Well, just hold on. What is the qualifications? Just real quick.
I'm not doing it.
The reason I was so visibly irritated during this episode was because TK was not letting me finish my sentences because of how she felt. So it was like, I feel like I was trying to get my point across, and then she would like cut into it halfway and then start rebuttaling like half of what I'm saying. And I'm like, you're not letting me get through to my sentence, and you're manipulating what I'm saying to be convenient to your argument. So after a while, I was just like, you know what, just forget it. It's like arguing with a brick wall. So I was just over it.
Okay.
To me, because I don't agree with that. I feel like the only thing that can keep you from the gates of heaven is not believing in God, not believing in the Holy Trinity. So I feel like you can be a repeat offender, but if right before you die, you like, God, please forgive me for all of my sins. I feel like.
And what you're saying is you're saying that blows your mind because you could do wrong all your life, and then when you die,
Like
if
you want like the minute on my deathbed, if I'm like, you know what,
I'm
like,
sorry.
all this
He is a merciful God. He is a merciful God.
I personally don't want to be in heaven next to a motherfucker that just like killed 50 people and then like 2 seconds before they died, it was like, you know, Jesus, I'm sorry.
But
Do you feel like you don't believe in God because of fear?
No, I don't believe in God because I think a lot of it was used for personal gain. I think it was a lot of bullshit. Like everywhere it was used, to me, it was more so like a personal thing. It was because I'm more so I can't understand.
So it's
shit.
the way that God was presented to you.
No, it was like a global thing. Like because if we take the basics and strip away how he was presented, God was presented as love. God was presented as somebody that's gonna make my life better. But then I am more so like I apply it to the global scale of things. I didn't understand where was Jesus during slavery. Where's Jesus with the kids in Africa? They'd be on TV hungry with flies flying around them. Where is Jesus? If this is the God that you're saying is for me, why isn't this guy as good as he was for other people? Not to mention, as a PK kid, we didn't have a lot of money, but the pastor did. And I was a PK kid, but the pastor's family kind of took me in. So I saw their lifestyle in comparison to my lifestyle, and I'd be like, this shit is a whole fucking business.
So hearing TK talk about God and how God was presented to her and stuff, it makes me think of people's first introduction to Christ dictates how their belief is set up in him, but also how they feel towards him later in life when they actually can think of their own opinions and draw their own conclusions. Because God was never presented to me in the same way as TK was, so I never thought that way about Christ. So I never had to live in fear. I was never like, oh, you gay, we can't be friends. Like the way it was introduced to me, I never thought of God as that. So if I never think of him like that, of course I'm not gonna be like, when I grow up later, I'm not gonna be like, oh, this is who he is.
Absolutely, and I feel like for Christian, I understand why Black Americans specifically need it because our reality is really fucked up. And if we took Jesus away from Black American culture,
what would we have?
we would be a
But I think
we
white
already
people
fucked
do
up.
religion just as much as we do.
They don't use Jesus in the way they do. I don't think that they do. I really don't.
I'm talking about being in church. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I grew up with them. I used to be at my gymnastics
Have you
house
been
and
to
think
a
I was
white
getting out of
Southern
church,
Baptist church?
and I had to have them
Oh,
wake me
it's
up
not in a
and go to the damn church with them. The same thing like I did. I'm like,
I
oh,
will
weird.
say nobody praises God like Black people. Like Black people is something different. Like we are something.
Are you
different.
saying
But I feel like we
Are
do that with
you-
everything. I feel
Yeah,
like with
we're
everything
something
that we
different.
do, we're gonna take it and we're gonna do it more than everybody else. With our hair, with our makeup, you can give us the same tools as white people. We're gonna do it more than them.
It's gonna
Period.
be
We're gonna
different.
sing louder. We're gonna praise harder. We're gonna
I
do
just
this
want to-
stuff.
But
I
we're
just
also
want
the
the
most
gospel
marginalized people. Obviously, we're going to have to do that because we have more to fear in this world. White people don't have that reality because they have nothing to fear.
But that I feel like you're projecting because everybody does not do Christianity because they're fearful. I understand that's what your
But
understanding
Christianity is
is.
based in fear.
But that does not mean that's not why I'm a Christian. I don't go to church and stuff because I'm scared. I don't believe in God because I'm scared that if I don't believe in God,
I
I'm
feel
not
like
gonna
that's not what I'm
believe.
saying.
I feel like I'm less fearful.
I'm saying
because
for
I'm-
me, I feel like that's what I'm saying. I'm less fearful. I feel like I'm more comfortable. I feel like for me, I have reasons and things that happen in life to make it so I can't look and say this is not happening. That's my reason. It's not fear, but that's not everybody.
And I think something kind of what you're saying is that is I see what y'all are saying, but you could never question it or get away from it because of the fearful narrative of just like, oh, okay, like I don't know nothing about that. Like I'm staying right here. Like it's just like
Because this also
And
was
that's
good to me though
the
too.
way-
that's true.
So
right,
it's
right,
like,
right,
why
right.
would I? In addition to that, it's like this has been good, and I've been on both sides. That's what I'm saying. So it's not
That
fear.
sounds like racism. That sounds like misogyny. That sounds like homophobia. Why would I go against the grain if it's gonna fuck my world up, but everybody else is getting fucked up?
Because I
That's
don't feel
scary
like
to me.
religion is fucking up everybody else. I don't feel like. I think that there are people that can look at it that way, but like God himself, I don't feel like, oh, I'm over here and then he just fucking up everybody and I could care less about what he doing with
I've
y'all.
never seen
I-
Christians in the march for
We about to wrap up.
trans women live.
That's
I ain't
not
never
true.
seen it.
That's not true.
I ain't seen it. In the way
Just-
that if a
I'm
black
because
person
in
was
church
to get
yesterday,
shot,
literally in
the way
his
that
sermon,
racism-
he introduced all of them and made
oh yeah,
them
Kim Hype is real dope, and I
Okay,
use
no, but
exception to the rule.
also I know a lot of churches that have
to the
went
rule.
to prop.
But how can all they say exceptions be exceptions to the rule, and all your people is the
No, I don't
No,
have people.
but also,
Well, I'm saying when you
there's
say
a
your
church
example,
on
you
9
say this is
miles.
just how it is, and when we say something to rebuttal it, like, no, here's the example of how you're like, no, that's an exception. But we could
It is an
easily say,
exception.
but we could say the same thing to you and say your experience was an exception.
So y'all believe on a grand scale of things, Christianity is present in a lot of
No,
these
you said you ain't never seen.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying when you're, it's
That's
like
grand
super
scale,
like,
no,
this
it's
is
what
how
you
it
said.
is.
Never.
This is how
I'm
it
sorry.
is.
I'm
That's
sorry.
not true.
I'm sorry. You said you've never seen what? Sorry.
And on a grand scale of things, in a way that I've seen how the black church and just church in general will rally behind like Black Lives Matter and things like that. Racism, if we're talking about isms, I've never seen them go up for like homophobia, transphobia, LGBT, all that other stuff.
And I'm with
I've
you.
never seen them go up for misogyny. Like they don't rally for women in the way
Black
and all
people
that other
don't do
stuff.
that. Regular black
That
people
doesn't
don't
make
do
it
that.
okay though.
I'm not saying it's okay, but I'm saying I don't think that's a
But I think-
Christianity thing.
But they don't
Regular
go up
niggas
with-
don't do
But
that.
if you think about it, the reason why most black people don't is because
Of religion.
I think they use that as an excuse, just like white people used it as an excuse to do the bullshit that they was gonna do. I feel like the
But
people
what
that
they
do
use
use
to
it
do that,
are
they
people
use
who are
religion.
They use
I'm
it,
I'm
yeah.
not saying that, but I'm saying that's because that person is choosing to demonize something and use it
I don't
as a
think it's a
thing does
person.
not mean that it is.
Isn't it more so like the institution of religion than it is the person?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would just like to say this because she used never, and because she said never, I can't get with that.
Absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely.
so on a grand scale, because when California had that big ass march for trans black women, they left from a church because a church said, we will be a point for y'all because we believe in y'all cause. The same one that, what's his name, Tyrese stood in. I'm trying to Google it because she said I be making up stuff. Because that, I just did a, like you said, never, because you haven't seen it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
Agreed.
And also, there's a church down the street from my house. They literally have a pride flag in the front.
I've seen it out here too.
Yeah, and they also have it on 9 Mile and Woodward. It's a pride flag. There are churches that do go out and do stuff. So I don't think that's fair to shame the entire religion.
I think that's. I'm sorry.
Because
I just think that's kind of like saying, like when we say niggas ain't shit, we know what that. Hold on.
Yeah.
When
I'm
we say
agreeing.
niggas ain't shit, we know what that means. You know what I'm saying? So right now, like you said, we're speaking for like the biggest picture because people.
But she
the
said
LGBT
never. That's the only reason I said it is because she
Well,
said never.
okay,
That's
but
all.
what
I'll take that.
but what I'm saying is that's just like when we say we sitting in our circle and we talk about niggas ain't shit and it's that one nigga over there like wait I don't do that. Okay, that's great. But the majority of y'all do. So so if it's enough enough of y'all to do
like
it
you
to be
said.
a problem, then that's what we're talking about. So okay, yeah, she did say never.
Yeah, and that's
but
what
let's
I'm
be
saying.
real.
No,
Most churches
I
is not rocking
can
with
say
the
most.
LGBT community.
No, I can definitely say most.
I just
don't
didn't want to
say
take
that
away
nobody
from
else
our
can.
And for me, I always use an example of with black people and racism. We can always say, yeah, there are some white
There's
people.
some, yeah, there's some,
But
but
we still suffering from racism, so I cannot praise this one white person.
it's not
for doing
enough.
something
It's not
that
enough for
shit
y'all to
isn't.
be praised. It's not enough.
I can't stop and praise white people when I got a whole school of niggas behind me that need help.
I honestly really understand all points of views. I have been deeply into Christianity before, and now I'm at a point of my life to where I still believe, I still have faith, but I am questioning things that are a part of this religion, and that's natural. So the things that TK is saying aren't shocking me, and I really value her opinion on those things, or her outlook on those things, because it's important to think about. I think we go to church and we're taught certain things, but we aren't taught to question, and I really like that she does that. And I really think all religions across the board, they all have something in common. So